Good day, students. This will be your guide in answering your module for quarter 1. Using information for news reports, speeches, informative talks, panel discussions, etc. in everyday conversation and exchanges. So it's more about using language in interaction, communication, in written or oral way. So you will start answering on page number 3. You will read the article below and gather details based on what is being asked. Choose and write the letter of the correct answer on the space provided before each number. But you are not allowed to write anything on the module, so you will provide, or if you have answer sheet, you will write your answer, the letter of your answer on your answer sheet. But if you don't have, you will use another sheet of paper. It can be one whole sheet of paper or bond paper, as long as you will write your name and you will include the subject. So after reading the article, there are items and there are choices. You will just choose the letter of your correct answer. So all of the information and the answers will be found after comprehending the article. In number 11, you will analyze the graph. So we have here the title of the graph and the information. You will just analyze and answer the given questions. So there are choices again. The next one will be what's in. In the previous lesson, you learned how to lay value judgment on critical issues that demand sound analysis and call for prompt actions. You learned how to take a stand on issues and respect one's opinion and ideas. Look at the logo below and give your judgment on issues on social media posts and identify what it may inflict as an impact to the public. So as you can see, there is a word, think. So when we say think, what should we do? Is it only a shallow thinking, or we need to analyze more? And we need to consider things before we think. And we have, it is a cliche, think before you click. Given the fact that we are under new normal, we are not allowed to go outside unless it is an important matter and you are aging 21 above and not exceeding 59. So because of that, we are more exposed and we have more time in social media applications like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other mobile games. So when you say think before you click, what comes into your mind? Number 1 question, are you in favor with Anti-Cyberbullying Act of 2015 or not? What is your stand? So when you say stand, are you favor or not? Are you in favor or not? Cyberbullying, when you say cyber, it is happening through online applications. What did you use as basis in decision making? So what are the considerations that you have thought, that you have used before you came up with your stand? What advice can you give to those people commenting on social media posts? So because we are seeing many comments, what can you advise to them? If you are in the shoes of the owner of the post, or if you are the one being talked about, so what would you feel? And what would you suggest to those users or application users in commenting, or before commenting, during commenting, after commenting? So what can you advise? That would be for the number 3. So we have a text entitled Thoughts to Ponder by Maricar Padagdag. So you will also read, analyze, and comprehend this text. Then you will answer questions. So we have guide questions. 4 items. What is the selection all about? So what's the summary, or how can you summarize the text? What Filipino values are mentioned in the narrative? So when you say Filipino values, these are the practices, these are the traits of Filipino. What are the different sources of information mentioned by the author? So we have different sources of information, but you will just write and list the sources of information mentioned in the text. If you were the writer, what will you comment to those giving misinformation through social media, and how can you resolve certain issue? So if for you to answer it easily, you can put yourself in the shoe of the writer. For example, before commenting, if I will read this comment, what would I feel? If I will read this, what would I feel? So you always think like that for you to feel what emotions or what is the impact of that comment. So you can give more advice, especially in making fake news. So what would you feel if you are accused with a fake news? So it's like that. And we have what's new. Think and click. So you will read again and analyze the article below and put a check mark if the statement is right and cross if the statement is wrong. So you will read this paragraph, and based on your understanding, you will put check mark or cross mark if it's true or not. It's 1 to 10. So we have here the essential skills for reading comprehension. Reading itself will not be effective if you do not understand what you are reading. So it's very important for you to comprehend. That's the reason why we have reading comprehension. It is not only reading, because reading without comprehension is useless. For example, you will read a signage. How will you follow that signage if you cannot comprehend? So reading with comprehension is very vital for today. Especially we have many protocols under the new normal. So we have to comprehend well for us to follow effectively. So we have decoding. When you say decoding, you are understanding. You are decoding also the sounds, how you perceive, how you interpret the sounds. Fluency, it is like the learners need to instantly recognize words, including ones you can sound out. Fluency speeds up the rate at which you can read and understand text. It is also important when you encounter irregular words like of and the, which can't be sounded out. So when you say fluency, it is the smooth transition or smooth used understanding and application of the language. And we have vocabulary. When you say vocabulary, these are the words, how we use words correctly and effectively. Sometimes there are many words which are having many meanings. So it is depending on how we use it in a sentence. So we should be mindful on how we use words, and that is vocabulary. When you say vocabulary words, is it appropriate to use this word or not? So we should always consider the word's usage. Sentence construction and cohesion. When you say sentence construction, it is how you made a sentence, how you composed a sentence. So we have coherent devices, repetition of a key term or phrase. This helps to focus your ideas and to keep your readers on track. Let us consider this quote of Abraham Lincoln as an example. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all of the time. So there are repetition of some terms to emphasize a message, or it is having a deep content. It's for emphasis. Synonyms. When you say synonyms, these are the words that have essentially the same meaning and they provide some variety in your word choices. It can be the same or most or somehow similar. Sometimes not exactly the same, but they are similar. It can be synonymous. So it is like myths and narratives. So they are somehow synonymous, but they are not exactly the same. Narrates, so myth narrates sacred histories and explains sacred origins. These traditional narratives are, in short, a set of beliefs that are very real force in the lives of the people who tell them. So we have C, pronouns, this, that, this, those, he, she, it, they, and we. So they are the words we are using to substitute a noun. When scientific experiments on COVID-19 vaccines do not work out as expected, they are often considered failures until some other scientist tries them again. Those that work out better the second time around are the ones that promise the most rewards. So the word they, instead of always repeating the subject, we will use pronoun. The transitional words. So transitional words, it is really for having cohesion. For example, however, therefore, in addition, also, but, moreover, etc. So when you say transitional devices, from the word transition, it bridges the connection and the understanding of the text. So there should be connection, the relation between the text, between the word, between the sentences. So it should not be vague or not clear, because one of the goals of transitional words is to understand it well and clearly. Reasoning, background, and knowledge. So we have inference in reading. It is the ability to understand the meaning of a passage of text without all the information being spelled out. So even though you haven't read the whole text, you can infer. For example, an increasing line graph of Philippine population from August 1990 to August 2020 can be inferred that Philippines has higher population in the month of August compared to the past years. So it can be through concept maps and graphs that serve as visual models for inferring and securing a background knowledge. Working memory and attention. These are both keys to learning new information. Attention allows information to be taken in. Working memory helps the brain make sense of it. So it is using our memory to become more attentive, to become more inquisitive in understanding the text. So these are very vital. So we have the key ideas. Let me read it for you. Decoding, fluency, and vocabulary skills are keys to reading comprehension. Being able to connect ideas within and between sentences helps you understand the whole text. Reading aloud and talking or sharing about experiences can help improve reading skills. So you can also, for example, even though you are not allowed or we are not allowed to have face-to-face classrooms or face-to-face classes, we can do also oral reading by voice messages or any applications which are applicable and available to the students or to you. All these are essential skills that are great of help in gathering information through various materials like news reports from newspaper, television, magazines, brochures, and more, informative speeches and essays, chart and graph of different kinds, and several others. So even though there are less words like graph, and chart, we can also infer and give idea. We can analyze. It's more on visual. So we have independent activity. It's a talk. Directions. Notice the phone conversation of the two grade 10 learners below in learning modalities. Consider the ideas you learned from what is it. So you will read. So we have conversation of two grade 10. So there are following questions to be answered. So the questions are there, and you will cite lines to support your answer. They are giving their stand. Independent assessment 1. Think, pick, and think. Answer the questions based on the phone conversation above or here. So we have 5 questions. You will answer the questions here. Independent activity number 2, 5 W's and H. So we are hunting, or we are finding, locating this. Who, when, where, why, how. When you say who, the characters, people. When you say when, the time, the day, where, the place, why, the reason, the purpose, how, the process. So you will just choose what is the statement pertaining to that item. For example, who. What is the information that will answer the word who? When, where, why, how. Independent assessment 2. Fill me in. Directions. Supply information needed taken from the news article lead below. When you say article lead, it is the first paragraph of the news. So, and kindly remember that as we have news article here, as we have news article lead here, most of the questions, the who, what, where, when, why, should be located. So if you are about to make your own news article lead, there should be the information that will answer this one. So it should be short and concise. So you will read again, then answer these questions. Because you will really answer these questions if you really understood, if you are successful to locate these informations from the article lead. Independent activity 3. Again, all of the answers will be put on one whole sheet of paper or bond paper, or if you have answer sheet, you can put it there. Independent activity number 3, fact on chart. So based on the chart below, gather the needed data based on what is asked below. So there are also, even though it's a chart, there are words, numbers, there are logo, meaning it is really factual and it is based to appropriate and valid sources. So we have 5 questions. What is the chart all about? What is the motivation line of the government on its fight against COVID-19? So all of the answers here, even though it is not in paragraph form, you can still see the answer after analyzing those or that chart. Independent assessment number 3, chart react. Directions. Make a bar graph by using the data from the previous activity on page 15. So what is page 15? Based here, you will make a bar graph. As we go back, we have a bar graph here. So bar graph is like this. Diba? Nakalagay. It's included bar graph. So you will make, because there are numbers, diba? So fresh cases, you can include the years or the age the male, female, the place. So you can include that in your bar graph. So we have here, so always remember that even though it is a graph, there should be a graph title and labels for the readers to understand more your chart. Presentation of information, how clear you presented, scale and axis labels. So, diba, you have an axis like that. So when you say, what is the horizontal line? What is the vertical line? What I have learned. Directions, complete the statement below. The things I learned are, so when you say things, plural, meaning you have to enumerate things that you have learned in this module. The question I still have are, so it's very important to answer this one, because if you have questions and if your teacher, us, will read this, we will answer your questions to clear your mind and to have more learnings. So assessment, directions, read the article below, then answer the questions that follow. Write the letter of your choice on the space provided before each number. It is entitled New Normal, A Life We Have to Embrace by Michael Glenn S. Santos. As you can observe, there are many texts because it's very important before you proceed to grade 11, you should enhance your reading comprehension. Because if you cannot understand on your own the text, how much more the thesis, research, like that. So there are scientific texts which will be needing deeper understanding. So in grade 10, we have to enhance really your reading comprehension, not reading only, but reading with comprehension. So there are, after reading that, after comprehending that, you will answer this. And you will just write the letters only. So we have the additional activity. For numbers 12 to 15, read the article on Bayan and Act Law, then answer the questions that follow. So it is inside the box. Then answer. Same procedure, write only the correct answer. Additional activity, you're almost done. Congratulations. You are now on the last part of this module where you will express yourselves, summing up what you learned in this lesson. For your additional activity, look for informative materials where updates on preventive measures against COVID-19 are the main focus. Then, make a comic strip having you as the source of the information. You may choose any of the following as your character: teacher to parent or parents, doctor to patient, health worker as interviewed by a reporter being televised. So you will make a comic strip. When you say comic strip, there are conversations that you will make. You will just choose among the topic. We have the rubric for comic strip making. We have creativity. So you will just draw and write the dialogues on the available paper that you have. It can be one whole sheet of paper or it can be bond paper. You can put colors for creativity. And remember this instruction. We have theme, characters and dialogue. It is depending on your chosen subjects or characters. It can be teachers, the parent, doctors, the patient, health worker as interviewed by a reporter being televised. So the theme is preventive measures against COVID-19. The protocols, spelling, punctuation, and grammar. So you should consider that. So we have 5 points. And if you have questions, if you have still questions, you can PM or have a message to your English teachers. And as a reminder, this module is good for 2 weeks. God bless in answering your module. And I hope you will learn even though we are not having face-to-face. Stay safe.